Hey everyone, and welcome back to episode 2 of the Palouse Playbook. We've got Chad, and Knowles here. Game, probably a little bit different than what we expected. I mean, coming in from even the starting quarterback, I'd love to kind of look at this and say, well, let's talk about the good, the bad, the ugly. Chad, what's your thoughts?
I mean, during this game, and even kind of like just before the game, just thinking a little bit and just reminiscing of Mike Leach's first year. I think he won like 3 games. I think it was Eastern, Apple Cup, great win. I think it was UNLV too that year. It's just a lot of new guys coming into the room. So it's like you have to temper your expectations a little bit. There's a lot of learning on just the coach's side, the player side, even the fan side, right? You got to get to know this team a little bit and where are their strengths, where are their weaknesses. Good, bad, and the ugly. Good, I mean, it's easy to talk about. Everybody's been talking about it already. Defense was swarming. They're all over the ball. It wasn't until like late in the game when you saw a couple 3-and-outs in a row from our offense where our D line really wore down. And I know Joel's going to kind of talk a little bit on that. But I thought overall, like defense was great. A guy that really stood out to me was Humphreys, fifth-year senior, South Dakota State transfer. Yeah, just really liked everything I saw from him in pass defense, but even supporting the run too. He's very helpful there. So it's great seeing one of those players come over and really succeed right away. Bad O-line. I mean, in the pass offense, I thought they were okay, especially in that late in the game when we need to get some first downs and drive down the field and get a field goal. And they were able to put together some drives, so that was great. That was great to see them that end of the game be able to, have that fortitude to get through it. But gosh, on the ability to run the ball wasn't there when we're talking about last week together how this is going to be a 60-40 running offense. I didn't see it. I don't know if I think that's going to be the one position group I'm going to continue to watch each week and see how they improve. The good news is it's only going to get better, guys. It has to get better. Like that wasn't the performance we expected, but we still got a W, right? And then just the ugly. And you guys might be surprised by this, but I'm going to say the Coug fans. And in the game, hearing U of I fans way louder. I know it's week 1, notoriously, just we don't always seem to sell it out. But still, I mean, new coach, new regime in there. You're playing a border rivalry in a way. I mean, you'd think you'd be able to sell out a 50,000 or 35,000 person stadium and pack the seats until then. But yeah, it was kind of just a bummer to hear at the end of the game more U of I fans. And it just gets me more and more motivated. Like, hey, Cougs, I got a lot of text messages, a lot of people frustrated. I was frustrated, but I would just keep looking at like, what are you guys doing to make it better? Like, how are you giving back? Are you part of the 1890 club? I'm going to keep saying that. You'll probably hear it every episode. But Joel, I'll send it over to you. That's my little take on things.
Appreciate it, Chad. Yeah, no, I starting off with the good. It's probably going to feel a little similar. I will say the defense as a whole was good, but specifically the secondary. I mean, the linebacker core, the DBs. I mean, very consistent. What I thought was going to happen, especially with those transfers. I mean, it's a lot easier for defenders to get in the mindset of like, hey, I'm going to go make this play on the front end versus like doing the responsibilities of what they were doing in zone. Like every time their depth in zone, they were like staying, flat against the line when they needed to, dropping back the way they did. I was like, man, this team, they look like they're well coached. I would say the bad for me, conversely, within the defense is, to me, honestly, the defensive line. Maybe because I'm super biased and I'm going to be overly strict in reviewing. It drives me nuts even now as I think about it, just watching how the D-line lines up. Just even that naturally, to me, it looks like they're lining up almost like offensive linemen. And that sounds terrible, but just the mentality you have to have as a defensive lineman, the amount of weight you should have on your hand, just watching they have majority of their weight on their heels. It looks like they're going to stop and read. And it's one thing to have like certain defensive linemen possibly do that, but it seems like every single play it's that. And even when they go to line up in certain schemes, it's like you got a tight end should you be over top of that tight end, or should you be going to keep leaning on the secondary to come flying down to contain? It was rough. I would say that the ugly for me was actually the offensive line. I saw what was happening with the quarterback. It looks like he might already know. Maybe he's been through some practices, and although you don't pop the quarterback in practice, he might already had a twitch of like, hey, I got to get out of here. I'm not taking this ball. Let's see them get used to it. That's the feeling I got. But yeah, I would say the offensive line, good on pass blocks, but it was a little, to me, obvious when they were going to pass versus when we were going to run. There was one time in that scoring drive, was it the end of the first or beginning of the second quarter, where like they were like running, they were passing consistently, and there were a couple of times where they lined up in what looked like run heavy hands, and then they went easily into play action. But yeah, I would say that was for me the good and bad and the ugly. Pass over to you, Kyle.
Yeah, the good, I think it's been kind of resounded through everyone, was our defense. I mean, our defense, if you've years past, we get to the guy, one guy gets there, it's a missed tackle, no one's around, and the guy just keeps going. Guys were very sound tacklers, and when they did miss a wrap, maybe the guy made a good move, we had 6 guys waiting for him, which was just a breath of fresh air. And something we have not seen in a long, long time. The bad, I would say, just overall, like it's the offense in general. I mean, it just while the passing was good, the running was just horrendous. I mean, obviously, the stats looked like more like a air raid offense on a bad day, And the ugly, I have to say, it's because I can't put a finger on it because I don't know. I'm not in the room, but it's the offensive running play execution. We're running quarterback reads, and either the OC is telling Potter to not hand it off, or to hand it off, don't pull it, or Potter is refusing to pull the ball. He had at least 50 yards he left on the table. What he said, and these were like 3rd and shorts. We needed these to move the chains, and that ball got handed off. And I know we talk about the O-line play being, an F grade, but I think Joel probably is a defensive lineman. When you know where the ball's going, it's very easy to pin your ears and go right at it. I mean, usually when you see teams with a little bit more misdirection, you kind of have to do the stop and read and survey. Okay, where'd that ball actually go? I can't just go downhill, or obviously the ball's going to go in the other direction. And I feel like that puts a lot of stress on the O-line, and while some of our play actions still work because again, we're not handing it off, but we're throwing it. Angel, I think, probably got the short end of the stick in the running game because most of his runs were off those reads, where Kirby, a lot of his were just downhill handoff, which you saw what he did with those. He actually was somewhat effective, a little over 3 yards a carry, but to me, if it's either Potter not wanting to run or it's the OC not wanting him to take the ball, then you can't use that play. You need to take snaps under center, hand it off like a normal offense or spread, and go from there. But I'll digress. Gavin, what do you got?
Yeah, a lot of questions going into the game, a lot of questions leaving the game. That's just, I guess, high overview of what we all kind of saw. I think a lot of you guys already touched on a lot of this stuff. My big one was the decision to go with Jackson Potter over Zevi Eckhouse. And I don't want to take away from from Jackson Potter. I think he has a wonderful career ahead of him. I think he's a good football player. And you saw him in his first game. I think that's kind of what you saw. You have a guy who stayed with you through kind of the thick part of a coach leaving and a lot of players leaving. He's going into his 5th year. He's had success at the FCS level at Bryant. And we decided that no matter what, we're not going with him. Now, granted, I'm not the head coach. I don't understand the decision. And I did get to see I think Greg Woods had posted it on Twitter or X, talking about his decision. And they said it wasn't what Zevi Eckhouse was not doing. It was more so what Jackson Potter was doing. Even in that scenario, and I can say this coming from being a former coach.
Sounds like we're losing Gavin.
Yeah, I think we might be losing Gavin here a bit.
The valley here
we gotta
is
go with
crazy.
the
I'm in the safer part. I think Gavin.
experience.
Must be on that
Let him lose
cricket wireless.
Poor Gavin.
Well, he'll when he gets back in, we'll get his full take. But until then, kind of we're week 2. Game's over. We're 1-0. Like, let's take that excitement there. While and I think maybe we just have to really look at this team going, hey, we have a defensive minded coach. These games might not be as high scoring as they had been during the Leach era. But with that said,
even just to Gavin mentioned it briefly before we lost him, but just talking about, it was more of what Potter was doing than what Zevi wasn't doing, right? And
yeah,
but then at the same time, you didn't bring him in when you made a QB change, though,
Right.
and you brought in a QB.
He said for running purposes, right?
For running purposes, and I didn't see it. I mean, when we weren't even running the ball. So if you're gonna do it for running purposes, you're gonna run some bootlegs, maybe get him out of the pocket, get some different angles. I mean, it was just weird to me. Like, I get the purpose of the QB change if you're gonna try to run it, but you got to run it differently. I mean, what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same thing over and over again. And that's where I started losing it during the game a little bit. I'm like, okay, where's Zevi? Okay, we're just trying to run it now, but we're running the same exact plays with a different QB. So it was a little frustrating.
And think about if you could have brought him in on those 2nd and 1s, 3rd and shorts, midfield, where it's like, oh, now we have to kind of respect him as a runner. He can hand it off, he could throw it, or he can actually tuck it and run. I feel like that makes the defense, they can't just pin their ears back and go. But yeah, asking Duggar to say, hey, buddy, we're going to put you on the 4-yard line. Also, special teams, a buddy of mine mentioned this. If you put your heels on the 10-yard line, if that ball goes over your head, it goes over your head. But you don't fair catch a ball at the 4-yard line.
Yeah, catching 2 balls inside the 10 was. I mean, that just comes down to a little bit of coaching. They're going to learn that. So it's like, yes, it was ugly, but it was also week 1, I feel like. So those are things I can kind of get past a little bit in the end. It just better. It shouldn't be happening after that, beyond this week. It really shouldn't be.
No, I think so. And Gavin, I think we'll push this over to you. What do you see kind of as, what adjustments would you like to see in week 2?
Yeah, apologies. My internet has just been kind of going spotty still. I'm here. I'm not.
The weather's not helping it.
This is like our offensive line on running plays. Booting slowly.
and yeah, it kind of working.
I don't want to say the weakest link right now, Gavin, but I might have to cut you here. So it's broken. Sorry, bud.
You can jump out.
All right, Joel. Same question to you. If you want to steal the points.
Yeah. What I want to see improve. I mean, this sounds bad. I wonder if this is possible, but it's just them loading up the offensive line at times and just committing to doing runs. Come into a series and actually just put your foot on the pedal and get 2-3 runs. It doesn't have to be back to back, but try and create some type of consistency. Start to give some wrinkle where the defense won't be what you just said, earlier. Put their ears back and let it rip. I mean, I would love that way back in the day. To see something like that and be like, oh, this is fantastic. Please let me get some more. I'm ready to eat. But that's what I'd like to see. It's just them, shuffle over the tight end, get in a formation that allows them to become run heavy, or what you even mentioned in terms of bootleg, taking advantage of that. I mean, even with Jackson Potter, let it be clear to him, like, hey, you own this. This is your moment. Go ahead. You see the read. You watch the defensive end, and they come to goes down to the running back. Pull that joker and go. You don't have to hesitate. Like, I'd love to see more run plays from the offensive line. Even if it doesn't work initially, just start getting some type of rhythm going, and then start being able to have something you can work off of when it comes to like screens or when it comes to play actions, what have you. Like, be able to start having something different.
Looks like we lost Joel too.
Down to 2.
Bad
All
internet
right.
days in America. But no, I mean, like, just to kind of piggyback up on what Joel said, and just keep thinking of like just developing an identity. I think it's the biggest thing with any football team is you want consistency, and what is that? It's an identity of a football team. Clearly, defense left their mark. It gives you something like, this is what we expect going forward. A team that's going to be really hard to throw on. And hopefully it'll continue to help our defensive line. And then on the offensive side, just continue to see us just having a more well-balanced playbook where we're not very predictable. I saw a little bit, and I thought it was really interesting at the end of the game. I think it's more of just the timing of the game, where we're at, needing to score, needing to get down the field, but seeing us break out the old school air raid a little bit, and that clicking very well offensively. So, just like I mentioned, developing an identity, I think that's the biggest thing for our team going forward. Be able to find what works and stick with it. But yeah,
I agree. I agree, and I think you really nailed it with the idea of identity, right? When a push came to shove, we went back to the air raid, which again is a skill set of Potter. People say he can run, but he's not much. I don't see him being I don't see him as being a threat like Zevi is with his legs. So by getting away from the air raid and getting more towards the spread, to me, that would fit more of Zevi's skill set, which is kind of, I think, maybe why it was more perplexing is, especially in today's football, people are faster. They can get to the corners quicker. The quarterback really kind of has to be an active runner in order to have offenses be effective and to have that illusion. And right now, with how the game went, it wasn't the case. And sure enough, when we went straight passing, and I think it's hard too, because, when Leach came in, or even when like Rolo came in, this whole transfer thing wasn't where it was. So you weren't losing 75 guys. So this team, for the most part, it was built around what Rodgers and company wanted. So it's kind of hard to use that one, because sure, we have some holdovers, but not like the way that, most college teams prior to this kind of shift did have. But yeah, I think the adjustment really, to me, the defense, just continue to what you do, bend, don't break. I think really it's on that offense, and again, executing and coming up with a plan that's going to be able to be successful, minimize not only turnovers, but missed opportunities. And I just think that the QB replay was borderline worthless in that game.
It wasn't.
Yeah, you look across football, 4 out of the top 8 teams lost. There was a lot of sloppy games. I don't know how much you guys watched this weekend. I was pretty into opening week of football. I watched way too many games. Wife wasn't too pumped about that, but that's all right. I digress. I watched a lot of sloppy football though overall. There was very few games where I'm like, both these teams are clicking on all cylinders. So it was generally just one part of the team. So good news is I feel like we're going to get better. Like, there's no way we can't get worse, I feel like. So I'm feeling good, still feeling strong about my over 5.5 wins. Maybe that 7 that Gavin mentioned might be a tough one to pull off, but I feel like
Gavin and I are sweating here right now on that as it stands. I was sitting there college game day come Ole Miss. Not sure how that one's going to play, but again, like you said, it's week 1. Again, this might be a shift in how we see Coug football from the 50-point games to Maybe it's a dogfight up to the last possession, which honestly makes for some exciting football. Now you hope more than 23 points to be scored, but to me that's pretty exciting.
I wanted to pop in. Hopefully my internet stays and it's not every fifth word like it was last time. Apologies.
We're good.
Hey,
We're
we're
good.
here. And yeah, I actually said as high as 8 games was going to be won. Yep, I'm going to go ahead and just say I might be
Chad tried to
wrong.
help you, Gavin. It's on you now.
Listen, I trust in Jimmy. I trusted in Jimmy. I still trust in Jimmy. I'll say that much. I think Chad hit the nail on the head where it's that first year of a brand new coach. You have a lot of mixed locker room stuff that may be playing a part. Doesn't look like it when you look at the practices. It looks like there's a lot of cohesiveness. It looks like there's a lot of guys gelling already. It just hasn't made its way to the field yet. And maybe that's more so offensive coordinator related. And I'm not trying to point any fingers to Danny Froen, but pay attention to that, maybe moving forward and see what happens. Really hoping just to see something different next week, especially against a worthy opponent that you're going to have to show up. So I had to pop in for that one.
Right? Question, gentlemen. Did anyone see a reaction where, as Potter came off the field, anyone reacted to him like, hey, sometimes you'll see him, maybe not fireball. This is not back early 2090s, but anyone being like, hey, like something where it feels like you got to hand the ball off. I don't personally, I watched the game probably at least 2-3 times. I didn't see any reaction like that. I didn't see, so like the Gavin's point saying that like, oh, is this a like a planned situation in terms of like how they were doing it, the QB reads. I don't know if they were QB reads. I think they were just really sloppy, almost like zone reads.
With that, I don't know. That's where for me, it was hard for me to either point the blame at Freund or point the blame at Potter, because if they were direct handoffs, you need to stop calling them because the D end isn't respecting it, and you're not blocking him. So it's go under center and give him a direct dive or give him a lead, give him something. You essentially are giving that guy a free run to the running back. Yeah. Now, if it's Potter not taking it, I don't know what else to say. I'm not going to be rude and say, were you a little timid to take it and run? Because quite frankly, there was no one around you. And I'm just, again, it's the optics. It's how it looks from me watching a screen on CW. But it's either way, something has to change because those put you in horrid situations. So again, those would have been perfect opportunities to put in Duggar, who before Saturday had 13 plays in garbage time. What a nice way to ease him into midfield on a 2nd and 1 on a read play. Go.
Please. If you're going to plan on that.
Yeah, and I think one thing I definitely agree with there, like I just don't know if I agree if those were actual plays that were drawn up for us. Like when I watched it and you mentioned it, I didn't see it, but I think you nailed it when you said there was some timidness from Potter. I think there was a completely different player that came out once Duggar was done and he got his second chance. I saw a completely different quarterback there. The zip on the ball was better. He was hitting his receivers in stride. And he was making his reads quickly. I felt like in that first half of the game, his reading, like just the defense was very slow, and it caused us just really to have some inefficiencies. But when it push came to shove at the end of the game, he was making quick reads, getting the ball out fast, and hitting his receiver in stride. And that's what you want to see. Now, granted, that like we had talked about, like it was an air raid offense. So is that what he's used to? Something to dive into. But yeah, I got a little bit more comfortable with him overall at the end of the game and seeing him produce in that manner. I think a lot of the rust, or at least the timidness, was gone. He was ready to execute. So that's what you want to see out of starting QB. So I was happy to see that, and I have a lot of faith there.
And I'd like to actually, now thinking about it, I'd like to go back and look at the tape and say, when they made that change and they brought him back, how many QB reads did they actually call?
Yeah.
And I can't think at the top of my head. There were many, if at all. So they might have made that adjustment. Now, again, I still think that's a play you need, but there's just got to be a change.
Especially when you're planning on running the ball a lot.
Fair. So,
Yeah.
so I think kind of wrapping this thing up, let's just kind of go around the horn here. Week 2 prediction. What are we thinking?
So we have the Cougs as 1.5 point favorites right now. Vegas has us winning this ball game. You look at what did UNLV do? I didn't watch the game. This is just me looking at stat lines, but playing Stony Brook, the offensive numbers production wasn't great. So I think clearly they went to backups pretty quick against Stony Brook. Overall, I feel like the Cougs will definitely be in it. I just want to see us be able to run the football effectively. I want to see our offensive line coming out and punching the defense in the mouth, pushing the guys backwards and not being on skates the whole time. But us being favorites, I'm going to stick with that. I'm going to go money line. I think it's going to be close at the end. Could be a field goal. I love what I saw from our field goal kicker at the end. So I got faith there. Cougs victory. Joel?
Looking at it with very little history, question before I answer. Stony Brook is still FCS? Or did they move up to FBS? I know that's a silly question. It's okay if we don't know on the fly.
I think they are FBS. I think for basketball they are.
Right? They were, back in my day, they were FCS. We used to play them. I was thinking this. And I saw some of the stats. Yeah, so I'll say this. It's going to be close. I think we should win it. I think we will win it. I mean, you said it, Chad. I want to see more runs. And again, because maybe I'm a little jaded, a little biased, but I feel like the defense needs to, specifically the D-line needs to step up, because my concern is we might have gotten away with some things that we could get away with Idaho. And I don't know if we can do that with what I'm starting to see as I review San Diego State. So right away, if they heavy load one side, we're gonna have to make a decision on how you line that up. So what I'd like to see is the D-line step up. I think Ram Stevenson is a leader. I mean, he feels like a leader. And there's some others that's flash, like Darren Dalton. But yeah, I want to see more runs, and I want to see the D-line, especially their D tackles, really become penetrators. Crowd the ball. I was like, nah, I won't harp on it. Hopefully I don't say it every week. Get close to it. Smell it. It's okay. Especially your D tackles. You're supposed to be right there. You can see the ball. You won't line up all sides. DNs can use referees. So that's what I want to see. I believe we'll win.
It's going to be a test. Just looking at the stat line, what they did against Stony Brook. You had 4 running backs average over 4.5 yards a carry. Top running back Lucky Sutton went 22 carries, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns, 4.5 average. But even look, down the depth chart, guys still ran 7 rushes, 38 yards, 5.5 average. So it's really you're right. That D line needs to show up, because they're going to be running the ball a lot. Because as a QB, from a QB aspect, I mean, Jaden Denagel went 13 of 25 for 208, 1 touchdown. So no interceptions there. They went to a backup QB later in the game, but clearly, your efficiencies in the passing game might not be there for their quarterback. So I'd expect a lot of rushing on both sides.
Yeah, and they're built for it. So
yeah.
And I think two things also we'll think about too is we had 2 of our starters out. You had Ellison out and Reeder out. And so I think that might have put some changes into just how everything kind of came to be. I'm confident, and I think what I'm seeing is I'm confident in the defense, kind of again bend but don't break. I think we're going to see the offense. Again, if you think about the game too, there was a couple plays that were touchdowns. I mean, there was that wheel route that Potter threw about 40 yards over Meredith's head. That would have been he could have bear crawled in for a touchdown. But I'm going 24-21 is what I think it's going to end up being. I think it's going to come down maybe to a field goal at the end of the game. But I think our defense will keep us in. I think we will make enough plays to make it happen. It's just right now it's such a enigma of the offense. What are they going to do? Who's going to show up? Maybe something changes. None of us thought it was going to be Potter until we saw him suited up for it. So, but I think, again, a lot of gelling, a lot of new people, and we'll see what happens. But I'm confident in 24-21.
I like it.
Gavin, you want to step in for a second? Give us your last thoughts, or is he
in the background?
Brother,
is he paused again?
No, I think it's his internet's shot. Let's wrap it up.
All right. Well, Up West Sports and the Palouse Playbook. We've got Chad, Joel, and we've got Knowles here. Win or lose, go Cougs.
Go Cougs.
Cougs.